Hi, everybody. It's Heidi Parr Kerner with Heidi Inspired, and I am so excited today to have a very special guest. This is actually my first guest that I am interviewing, Carol Chanel, who is a certified life coach, mentor, my mentor, and author. Hi, Carol. Are you there with us today?
Hey, Heidi. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I am so excited you're here. Now, I am talking to Carol in my old hometown in Santa Monica, California. How's the weather out there today, dear?
Oh, it's just fabulous. How about out there where you are?
Well, it's fall right now, so it is absolutely beautiful. So I am sitting here on this wonderful afternoon, and I just reread your book that is quote unquote absolutely fabulous. I want to tell all of our listeners today the reason that I wanted Carol to talk is that Carol has been a longtime friend, mentor, and coach of mine. And how I was thinking of this earlier, Carol, how did we actually meet? Do you remember when we met and how long ago it's been? Because it's been a long time.
Yeah, we were at a networking meeting in Los Angeles. And I just remember you were so outgoing, so bubbly, and I was immediately drawn to hear you speak and learn what you had to teach me.
Thank you. That's right. I mean, the whole power of networking that literally 20 years later that we are still connected. So for all of you out there that follow me in the networking world, keep those relationships going. So Carol, again, who's mentored me, coached me whenever I've needed support, help through so many areas, one of her specialties is just helping people get unstuck. But just a couple of years ago, I don't think it's been that long, you came out with this book called Fabulous Forever. And I carry it with me. I tell my friends about it. So that's what I really want to focus on today. There's so many different chapters in there, but one in particular. But before we go into that, I'm just curious, how did you come up with this name? Because the name, of course, is Fabulous. Fabulous Forever. So Carol, how did you come up with this juicy, juicy name?
Well, I think all women are incredibly fabulous. They just don't always realize it. But sometimes women just have that moment of feeling fabulous. And I wanted them to realize they could be fabulous all the time. They could be fabulous forever for the rest of their lives. And I wanted to really speak to that part of our growth in that this is forever. This is not just a one-time, two-time, three-time thing.
I love that. And again, you have such a way of explaining things. And you're absolutely right. These women, maybe they go out for a gala event, they get dressed up, and they're like, ooh, this feels wonderful. But why aren't they feeling this all the time and forever? So speaking of the word fabulous, and you talk about this in your book, how would you define what is being fabulous? What does that even mean?
That's a great question. It's really an inner knowing of your worth, your value, your beauty, your goodness, your sensuality, your passion, your kindness, your compassion, your love and joy. It's trusting yourself and that you're guided by a divine source. It's surrendering. It's honoring all the qualities and values you brought into this lifetime. And when you embrace your fabulousness, your life is filled with love and joy on a daily basis.
You know, what keeps us from being that way, though? What keeps us, do you think, stuck? Because you're absolutely right. When you feel fabulous, when we feel on fire, when we feel good about ourselves on the inside and out, we are happy, we are joyful, we feel so much more accomplished. But what would you say as a coach that gets in our way of feeling fabulous?
The biggest thing that gets in the way is any self-defeating thought. But that keeps us from feeling fabulous. If we say, oh, but I'm not smart enough, or I'm not successful enough, any criticism, any critical thought we have about ourselves instantly blocks us feeling fabulous about ourselves. It doesn't mean we can't improve, but improving is completely different than criticizing ourselves as a way to that keeps us stuck.
So really you're saying a lot of our negative self-talk that gets in the way, and that's a big part of what keeps us from feeling fabulous.
It's absolutely, people call it the ego, they call it the gremlin, but I like to break it down to it's just any negative thought. That's right, Heidi. Any negative thought we have about ourselves that keeps that, it blocks that, almost that, if we're talking about fabulousness as an inner knowing, then it blocks that inner knowing.
And within your book, what I love, there's so many simple nuggets and so many ideas. And as you know, as a coach myself, working with women and teaching many of these nuggets, and what I love is learning from other coaches like yourself. It inspires me, and it's new ways, and they're just like lifelong things. Like, I don't think it ever goes away, like daily. Even though people are like, oh, Heidi, you're so confident. Oh, Carol, you're so confident. There's still that, it's a work in progress. I still think it's a discipline inside. It's not automatic. I know for me that if I have a negative self-defeating thought, I need to stop it right away and turn it around. Would you agree with that? I was thinking, in looking at your chapter, there's so many different ways to go, and affirmations and people pleasing. The one area that I see a lot of people have issues with is taking things personally. I believe that so many of us are so sensitive, and this is not just women. I know when I go into corporate situations and working with a bunch of men in sales and rejection, people take it personally, and you have a great chapter about taking things personally. Can you give us a couple of your teaching points and your thoughts on, why we take things personally and what we can do, is how that keeps us stuck from being fabulous?
Yeah, thank you. That's great. And that's right. It is men and women. This is really an important point for all of us to really understand, and especially helps us, I think, deal with the men in our lives. But the real thing that helps to learn to not take things personally is to understand that when somebody does something that's unkind or cruel, or maybe they're acting aloof, it's coming from inside them. It's their behavior, and in actuality has nothing to do with you. So the most important thing is to really understand it's actually their behavior. It's not you. And part of the reason why we react is because we have unhealed wounds. And the most important thing we want to do for ourselves is to really heal our wounds, to just, if you have, for instance, a critical father and you're dating a guy who gets critical, you're going to take everything he says personally, and understandably so. But maybe if you get to know him a little better, you understand that he had a critical father. That's what he learned to do, or he's actually critical of himself. Then maybe you can take a step back and say, oh, I see why he's doing that. It's not about me. And then as you heal your wounds, you'll begin to really less and less react to the unkindness of other people. And the most important thing is, if you ever hear yourself say, I can't believe he did that to me, you want to stop right there and say, okay, I said it was about me, but actually it's about him or her. It's about their behavior, not you. You didn't cause anybody to behave the way they did. It's coming from inside them, from inside their own wounds.
So I really like what you said, too, about having to make a decision and responding and hearing. That's a great little trick that really stuck out in the book. So if I hear myself saying, I can't believe they did that to me. I can't believe they're talking about me. I can't believe they're saying something negative about me. I love that as kind of a mantra to realize, stop right now. It's not about me. It's about them. So I love it when there's these like little tricks of the trade, these little nuggets that you have.
Yes, and Heidi, the thing I want everybody to really understand is that no matter how much work we've done on ourselves, we're going to, from time to time, take something personally, and that's okay. And when you do, even if it's not personal, but you've had that moment where somebody said something and it hurt, then just take a moment to soothe yourself. Put your hand on your heart, your hand on your face, and just comfort yourself, and then let it go. But if you try and bypass that comforting, soothing part, you've just kind of gone into the head, and you may still kind of carry around a little hurt. It's okay to have a moment of hurt. It's that you don't want to live in that space of taking everything personally and having your life be constantly in upheaval. So once you learn this concept, once you really embrace that it's about them and not about you, if you have that moment where you do take something personally, and boy, I've done it, just comfort yourself, remind yourself, it's okay, it's not about me. Right. And then you can move back into teaching.
To be very gentle with yourself. Again, I find a lot of the women I work with, because they're afraid, they take things so personally, again, it keeps them stuck. And that's why they don't go for the job promotion, or they don't go to the next level in their dreams of what they want, because they're afraid of what people will think. I mean, it's all kind of tied together, it seems like. I mean, tell me what you think about that.
It's absolutely tied together. That's a really great point, because if you're taking, if you want a promotion, in fact, I had a client whose boss was so nasty to her when she went to ask for a promotion that we worked for a couple sessions so that she didn't burst into tears. But the truth was, he knew he was underpaying her, and he had his marching orders to try and get away with it, but it really hurt her feelings. And we eventually got her, calm down. I was like, cry on the phone with me, yell on the phone with me, right? So you don't do it with him. And then she went in and asked and got a $20,000 raise. And this was, 10, 15 years ago. So that was a lot of money, but he knew he was underpaying her, and he figured as long as he blew her off, she would stop asking. Because again, he had his marching orders to try not to give her the raise.
Right.
So did she want to work for that company long term? No, but she needed to. But once she got that it wasn't personal, that was just the way he was kind of told to behave. When she got past that, boom, she went in, asked for that raise calmly, clearly in her power, and got it.
Right. Excellent. And the other second point that you brought up, heal your wounds. I love that too, because I feel like, and I've learned a lot of this through the years and also working with you at different times, that if I'm taking things personally and if I have a strong reaction, it's telling me, instead of pointing my finger at that person, that there's something still unhealed in my life. So I remember years ago someone saying, if you've healed something when you're no longer reacting. And I kind of use that as a guide. If I see a situation, revisit a situation, see somebody in the past that may have triggered me, and then I'm kind of like patting myself on the back, like, oh, I don't even want to react to that right now. Meaning, yay, I've healed those wounds. I'm sure you've heard of the term, Carol, the wounded healer. I think many of us that kind of go into the healing professions is because of our own wounds, but many of us have then been forced or have taken upon ourselves to work on those areas so that we can be available to other people. Any kind of closing remarks on that?
I think that is absolutely spot on. When those of us who have felt like we wanted to come forth and really help make a difference in other people's lives, I think, number one, we have the compassion to understand, if we've been through things ourselves, that we had our own wounds and we've worked hard to heal them. We have the compassion to understand what that feels like and really the challenge that we face going through it. But we also have that incredible insight into, when you're on the other side, how great that feels and why you want to keep going. So that you get to the other side, so that you heal that wound. And, we know the victory and that feeling, that deep feeling of fabulousness that comes from that.
That's just it, fabulous, and you are fabulous. So I could talk to you for hours. There's so many juicy materials that you have put out there. I always feel so inspired in talking to you. But what I want to encourage anyone that's listening to us to do is to follow you, because you put out a wonderful newsletter I think it's every month that they go to your website. I know they can sign up for it, and I'll have you give them that information in a moment. I also know there's a book on your website that I want you to mention that they can download. And most importantly, I'm going to encourage you to go to Amazon to get this book called Fabulous Forever, A Woman's Guide to Feeling Joyful, Loving, and Free by Carol Chanel, that I just think is precious. So Carol, tell everybody how they can find you, your website, Facebook, and also that you are available for coaching if people do want to heal their wounds and feel more fabulous.
Thanks, Heidi. Yes, they can go to carolchanel.com, and that's carolchanel.com. And I do have a free booklet on there called 7 Keys to Happiness and Fulfillment that can be downloaded. It's a great guide for people. I also have an e-zine that does go out every month, and it's called Rockin' Relationships, How to Have Better Relationships with Yourself and others. And there's a huge archive there, and there is a link right there on the carolchanel.com right to Amazon, so they could go there if they'd like to get the book. And certainly I'm always interested in talking to people about coaching and helping them feel more fabulous in their lives.
And I hope, Carol, that we can have you back on Heidi Inspire to continue to inspire us in taking our personal and professional lives to the next level, because I think you are fabulous. You've always been a role model for me. And there's so many other juicy nuggets that you have trained me in over the years, and being in touch with feminine energy and people pleasing. So please tell me you will come back soon.
Oh my gosh, Heidi, that would be so my honor. And for everybody listening, I want you all, Heidi's been so gracious to tell you all about how I've helped her, but Heidi has been one of the all-time great role models and inspiration people for me. She actually helped me get up and give my first talk ever in front of people. I was a complete nervous wreck, but she helped me design and write the whole talk and go through it and prepare for it. And boy, I couldn't have done that without her. I couldn't have made use of the networking meetings the way I did without her training. So we are all blessed, Heidi, to have you here helping us. Thank you so much for everything you do for us.
Thank you. Fabulous. See how it all comes around full circle. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye for now. I miss you. I miss Los Angeles, but I'll be back soon, baby. And over and out for now. We'll be in touch soon. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Heidi.
Bye-bye.